Hi, my name is Nick Hahn, and I'm K-5 art teacher in Rogers, Minnesota. I maintain a blog called Mini Matisse, and today I want to share a little bit about a fundraiser that I did at the beginning of the school year called Art to Remember. Art to Remember is a fundraiser where students make a piece of artwork, and then it is sent back to the company, and the company sends forms to you to send with your students, and they have opportunity to buy lots of different products with their artwork on it. When I was thinking about going with Art to Remember, I decided to email a couple of questions. My questions were answered very quickly by the customer service. So I decided this would be a good company to work with. One of the things that they needed from me was the amount of students that I had or I was going to be teaching that year, and their names and classes. I was able to contact the office staff that works at my building, and they're amazing. All I did was tell them the requirements from Art to Remember. They buzzed out an Excel sheet the next day, which I just forwarded on to Art to Remember. Via email, I was provided a timeline, and sure enough, right on the timeline was when I was going to get my Art to Remember package. This is a very small version of what you might receive that is filled with everything that you need for the project that you're about to do. When you open up your box, the first thing that you're going to find is this folder. This is really kind of your guidelines to everything that you're going to do with Art to Remember. Things included in this folder would be a letter of introduction, and it's just a nice little welcoming letter that you'll receive. Another thing that you get in the folder is this wonderful poster. Actually, you'll get a couple of them to hang throughout your school. This advertises the upcoming event. You'll get a parent letter. This letter lets your parents know exactly what is going on and what is happening, and the best thing is you don't have to make anything but copies. You'll also receive this little program guide. It tells you some do's and don'ts and some different ways to address and approach your Art to Remember projects, as well as some lesson plans on the back. The last thing that I want to show you that you get in that folder is this guideline, this confirmation form. This is going to tell you the expectations of you as the program leader and Art to Remember. So in your package as well, you're going to be provided all the paper that you will need for this project. In fact, you'll be provided with 10% more paper than you actually need, which is good because you'll have maybe mistakes, or you might even have extra students that come in at the beginning of the school year. So the paper will look like this. It has some recommended best practices, and it also has some things that you want to avoid. So this just gives you a good guideline, and it's going to have all of the labels as well for every student that you have in your school or in the program that you're going to be running. Check out the product samples that you will receive in your package. What I really like about this is there's a variety of artworks as well as a variety of products. Now it's time to get started on my project. I typically plan for about a 2-day lesson, but I always allow for 3 days. This gives students who are missing a chance to catch up, or students who are going above and beyond, a little extra time to finish up. There's a little bit of preparation that I like to do before I even get started on my projects. First, I like to come up and find just a filing basket like this. And for every class, I give it a hanging folder. That helps me organize between all of my classes. If you want to organize a little bit farther, you can even have different colors for different grades. And then inside each one is a recycled manila envelope. I just use a recycled one. And what I do is my finished products are going to go inside the envelope, and the ones that are still being worked on will go outside the envelope in the hanging folder. Another one of my favorite friends is Post-it notes. So if I just need to make a quick note about a student before they come to the next class, I'll make the note here, put it on top of their artwork, and have it hanging outside of the folder. This seems to work really well for me for organization. I don't have any problem organizing 800 students that I work with using this system. Okay, now let's talk about the lessons. You want to plan a lesson that can be accomplished in 2 class periods. Now my class periods are 1 hour each, so you might have to retrofit that to your schedule. Now, I said that the lesson is for 2 hours, but I always allow for 3. My plan is the first class to introduce the lesson and get started. Maybe they get started with pencil drawing, or if there's any underpainting at all, that would be a good day to do that. Day 2, I give them a quick review, and then they get started, they continue to work on the product that they're working on. Day 3, I will give them, if they need it, a little extra time. So I'll typically get started on some pre-planning for my next lesson so that students have something to do when they finish up, but I want to give them that whole hour if they need it to really make this artwork special. After dedicating 3 hours to the Art to Remember project, very few students are not completed. But for those students, I've come up with 2 solutions. One solution is to work with the homeroom teacher, sending it back to the classroom, asking that student to work on it during free time or maybe a few minutes in the morning when they come in. For my younger students, I ask this piece of artwork not to go home. For my older students, I do allow them to take it home. I put a little note saying what the project is for and when they have to get it back to me. So far, I've been fairly successful with this. So then there's that golden day that all the artwork is done and you're ready to ship this back to Art to Remember. You'll take all the manila folders that you've collected, all the artwork that you've collected, and you place it right inside the box that you received from Art to Remember. It is so simple. I had no idea the first time that I did this how simple this was going to be. I simply dropped it off and it ended up back in the arms of Art to Remember. The next thing you'll receive from Art to Remember are order forms. The order forms are all organized by class, so it's really easy to distribute to the homeroom teachers to get them to the students. They are also really beautiful. They have all photos of every product that students can order, and what's really unique is on the front cover is the student's artwork, the student's name, and a couple of products that have the student's artwork on it. So it's really easy to imagine what they will be ordering in the future. Parents have the opportunity to order these either online, or you could elect to have them also be able to send it back to the school. If you choose to do that, your order forms have a date of when they need to get back to Art to Remember. Then all you have to do is wait for the products to come in. So that's a glimpse of my experience with Art to Remember. I hope you picked up a couple of tips and tricks that you can use in your classroom as well.